So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to create posing routines, okay? So let's get stuck in. So these are the common limiting beliefs, okay? Like I talk to so many guys when it comes to, you know, hearing their woes that they can't build a posing routine, that they have two left feet, that their feet are stuck in the mud. One guy told me that he felt like a walrus on dry land. Too robotic when you move, you have shit flow, you don't know how to transition, you don't know how to build posing routines, you don't know where to start, and you'll just kind of get overwhelmed by the whole idea and notion of creating a posing routine, okay? But here's the thing. The reason why most guys don't know where to start or don't know how to start is because they don't know how to move, okay? You might think like, John, that's exactly what we're telling you. We don't know how to move. Well, what needs to happen then is we need to learn how to move. But most people are under the impression that teaching people how to pose and how to do, all the classic posing and the non-mandatory type style stuff, the cool transitions, the fancy spins, that it's not teachable. People think, or you even might think, it's just something that you have. It's just something that some people are born with and some people are not, and it's not teachable. And that is completely false, okay? Learning how to pose is a completely achievable skill. It just takes somebody to break things down into more easily digestible skill sets, okay, teachable skills, learnable skills, and then you're going to put it all together, and hey presto, you will be able to pose, okay? So I want you to wipe your mind completely clean, okay? Wipe your mind clean, and I would like to show you something here, okay? So this is our Posing Academy. This is our online posing platform that teaches guys how to pose, okay? And we have one course here in particular called the Routine Ready Masterclass, which is specifically designed to break things down so that you can learn how to build posing routines. You do not start with, I don't know how to create a routine. What you start with is learning how to do the fundamentals of non-mandatory posing, of classic posing, all the different leg positions, the different pieces of footwork, etc., etc. Start with learning the individual skills, and then when it comes to saying, I want to build a posing routine, then you have the skills to actually build something. The reason why you don't know how to build a posing routine is because you don't have the skills. You don't know what to do. Outside of your mandatory posing and your call to turns and the transitions you learn for stage, you don't know what to do. You don't know where to start, which is why you don't know how to build a posing routine. It's not because you don't know, where to start with building a posing routine, I just don't know what to do. It's like you don't know how to do any of it. So we have to learn this, okay? We have to learn and break things down so that you can build posing routines, okay? So the first thing that we teach, aside routine creation, is a small course on giving you some theory around building routines. The core positions is the fundamentals of posing routines. If you learn these core positions, and I'm going to prove this to you because in a minute I'm going to show you a video of Terence Ruffin, aka Rough Diesel, posing, and I'm going to prove this theory to you. If you learn these core positions, you will know around 80% of all classic poses that you will ever want to hit. Period. Okay? So in correspondence with your mandatory leg positions that you already know, if you learn these 5 core positions, okay, your non-mandatory core positions, and learn them like mandatory positions, if you really want to be good at posing routines, okay? If you really want to set yourself apart, if you just say that you want to learn how to flow and you want to learn how to do posing routines, but you don't actually give a fuck, you should probably just leave the video now. But if you really want to learn how to do posing routines, then start with the 5 core positions, okay? This is something that I created a couple of years ago, and it's helped a lot of guys now. Many guys learn how to build posing routines, okay? So we have core position 1, which is essentially our standard. I can even play the videos here and just keep the sound off. I'm not going to go through them all, but like our standard core position 1, which is our standard classic leg position, okay? So learning how to hip shift, learning how to get yourself in a position where you can hit those classic poses like, you know, Terence Ruffin with the teacups and things like that. That's core position 1. Core position 2 is the position where you can hit sort of single arm twisting rear doubles, you can hit standing twisting front doubles, you can hit side on teacups, etc. Core position 3 is where you're going to hit your twisting rear doubles, your low grounded twisting front doubles, twisting rear arches, poses like that. Core position 4 is your standard kneeling pose where you can hit a ton of poses from the ground. You could hit core position 4 with, you know, the Bob Paris pose or a side chest or a side tricep or a mantis or a Bob Paris single arm flex bicep or a, God knows, the list goes on and on. Twisting rears you can hit from the ground. There's so many poses you can hit from this position. Core position 5, again, so many poses you can hit from this standard ground position, okay? And then understand this. The core positions have a multiplier effect. So you can learn to hit all of these core positions on the left side and the right side, from front and from back, reverse and front, okay? So every single core position equates to 4 leg positions. Times 5, there is 20 leg positions that you can learn, okay? And once you have 20 leg positions under your belt, but they all basically stem back to those fundamental 5. So once you learn it once, you just repeat it, you know, left and right side, front and back. Then you have 20 leg positions at your disposal so that you can create posing routines, okay? Core positions is where you start. And then you'll say, well, but I don't know how to get from position to position. This is where you learn the footwork, okay? About faces, okay? Learn how to pivot. Pivoting is one of the fundamental skills that you'll need to know if you want to build posing routines, okay? The switch, okay? The cross step, different ways you can dynamically move across the stage but still maintain the integrity of the leg position, okay? Like most of the gig when it comes to posing is knowing your footwork, knowing how to get your leg positions. Because if the leg position is fucked, then the pose is fucked. Most people's poses look completely fucked because their leg positions are ruined, okay? When you learn how to do your core positions and your footwork and you move in between them using the footwork, then pretty much you can move. It's just learning these 2 fundamental things, core positions and then footwork. You know, we have 180 steps, we have 270 spins, we have 360 spins, okay? And then we have a little section in here that you can put flows together. But basically, learning this idea that core positions and footwork is going to be the answer, okay? It is the answer to you being able to create routines, okay? And like I said, that is the other way. And I've shown you, probably a slide behind. But look, here's some of the new beliefs that I want you to take on board now, okay? So the 5 core leg positions can teach me the foundations of classic posing, okay? And how to build routines and how to flow, okay? Footwork can be broken down into learnable skills, teachable skills, easily digestible, okay, skills. Combining the core positions with footwork, then I can learn how to flow and transition, okay? If I know my core positions and I know my footwork, then I can learn how to flow and I can learn how to transition, okay? Building posing routines starts with knowing how to move, okay? It's not knowing what to do, it's knowing how to move. And then when you know how to move, then you can figure out what you want to do. You can't figure out what you want to do in a posing routine when you don't even know how to do it, okay? And then the last thing is I will stop telling myself that I can't. That is the biggest one when it comes to posing routines. People say, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't. Well, now you have a new belief system, okay? I've shown you this is how you're going to be able to flow and build routines, okay? So take this on board, stop telling yourself you can't. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. So this is Terence Ruffin posing, okay? I took the sound away. But I'm basically going to show you his routine, okay? And I'm going to break things down. So he's starting off in a little bit of a statuesque pose here, and we're just going to focus on the core positions and the footwork, okay? And he's standing in core position 1. He's got that hip shift, yeah? He's, you know, really expressing himself. He's throwing the arms around, which again is a learnable skill. We'll get to that later. But he's still in core position 1. He's working the pose. He's moving his arms, okay? And then it comes to the first small piece of footwork. Very, very small. It's a very small pivot, okay? Again, some guys can't even do this. You might not even be able to do this. But again, it's a teachable skill. Just learning to pivot into core position 2, okay? Again, you must know the core positions as good as you know your mandatory leg positions, because when you know them, just as good as your mandatory leg positions, you will just default into the perfect leg position. And then once you have the perfect leg position, the rest of the pose is set up for success. Okay, but if you don't know the core positions just as good as you know your mandatory positions, then you don't know where you're going and you don't know how to transition because you don't know where the finish line is. How can you transition into a pose when you don't know what the finish line is? Okay, so he's pivoted, he's sitting in core position 2, again some fancy cool stuff with the arms, but he can focus on the arms, right? He can focus on the arms and the expression because he doesn't have to think about his legs. Most of you guys are at a point where you have to think about how do I move my foot from here to here? You have to actually think about this stuff. Whereas once you've learned core positions and footwork, you won't have to think. You'll just do. Okay, boom, throws it down into single arm twisting, and then boom, level change, another thing we teach in another section. Level changes down into core position 4, okay? And he hits core position 4 perfectly. He's got toe lined up with a nil. Level change again, okay, up into a standard mandatory side leg position, hitting his side tricep. Boom, little foot placement off to core position 1, okay? Right now, all he's done is core position 1, 2, and 4, and a pivot. He hasn't really done anything else. Like, this is simple stuff, guys, okay? The reason why his routine is so crazy is 1, because he's got crazy physique. 2, he's obviously a fucking great poser. I love Terence Ruffin. And 3, he puts expression and everything into he puts expression into the routine, but he can because he doesn't have to think about his legs, okay? He just does. So he can be left to think about his torso and what his arms are doing. So boom, 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 circling, another form of teachable skill. Boom, circles round into core position 2. Boom, little step back, teachable skill. Most people can take a step back, okay? But again, he's still in core position 2, but this is what we call core position 2 in reverse, okay? So if you come here, this is core position 2 from a front standing view, and then he takes a step back, still core position 2, but from a rear standing view, and hits a different pose, okay? Boom, little pivot now, yeah? Simple pivot into a rear double bicep leg position, okay? Tees up for a big lat spread, boom, pivots into core position 2 from the rear on the other side, okay, on his left side. And then boom, that's a 180 step, okay? So if you look inside of the course, you'll see, boom, 180 step, okay? This is a teachable skill, guys. Pivots, this is a teachable skill. Core position 2, core position 4, these are all teachable skills. So let's head back to it. Where was we? Who's around here? Boom, boom, boom. Drops down into core position 5, yeah? So he's in core position 2, 180 step into core position 5. Then he does some fancy stuff on the floor. Like I said, this builds up around 80% of all poses you're going to want to do. So these 5 core positions don't make up every leg position, but most, like 80% of the stuff you want to do. Boom, pivots into core position 4, just a slightly extend, what we call core position 4 extended. So you're just in a slightly deeper lunge position. But again, all very teachable stuff, okay? Fancy footwork, fancy arm work, little step back into core position 5 again. Okay, right, then he does some fancy stuff, yeah, might take a little while to teach you this stuff, but again, like I said, 80% of everything, okay? Core position 5, he does a level change up into core position 1 from reverse. So core position 1, this leg position is core position 1, but from reverse, and he's doing it on his left side, okay? That's all it is. It's nothing fancy. He adjusts the foot position into a rear double, boom. He does an about face into his abs and thigh leg position, okay? So an about face, again, it's a teachable skill, guys, okay? It's a teachable skill. This is nothing crazy that he's doing here, although he does it with like absolute expertise because he's done it so many times. But if I can get the bar back up here, we'll come back up to it. We'll keep rolling with it. Okay, about face into his ab and thigh leg position, drops the foot back into core position 1, pivots into core position 2, boom, hits the poses, little pivot back into core position 1, okay, he's got the leg trailing out a little bit more, but it's still core position 1, yeah, and then boom, thank you very much, Terence Ruff, one of the best posers in the world. All right, guys, so like, what about the other poses, okay? Well, 80% of the poses correlate to the 5 core positions. I just proved that to you with one of the greatest posers that we've ever seen, okay? If you learn the core positions, Then you can go ahead and start learning all of the poses individually, okay, which we have stacked up in the Posing Academy. But you've already got 50% of all the poses down because you have all of the core positions. Half the pose is the leg position, okay? And then most of the poses, like all classic poses, just correlate to mandatories, you know? One arm's a lat spread, one arm's a bicep, one arm's an abs and fire, one arm's a single arm bicep. Like, you know, a twisting rear double is essentially your actual rear double, just learning how to laterally lean on the pose. You know, but it all comes down to the 5 core positions, okay? Learn the core positions as your foundations, okay? And then what about the rest? All of the arm stuff, all of the fancy shit. It's all teachable, okay? And it's all learnable, period. Get the I can't attitude out of your mouth and just say, Posing Academy's got your back, I can learn this shit. Okay, so it's all teachable, it's all learnable. Level changing, when he's going from ground positions to sort of core position 1, you know, standing positions. Pace changing, when he goes from fast to slow, you know, circling arm movements, explosive arm movements, okay, expression and moving, music timing, okay, groundwork. It is all teachable. All right, guys, it's all learnable. So I hope this video helped. I hope this video broke some myths in your head, and I hope it gave you some clarity on how you can actually go about learning how to build posing routines, okay? You don't know what to do because you don't know how to do it, okay? Learn how to do it, and then you'll know what to do, I promise you. All right, guys, so if you're interested in learning from us, then you can start your 7-day free trial with us, okay, over in the Posing Academy. Like I said, we have a full community showing you how to become routine ready, okay, which is everything I just showed you. We also have the Stage Ready Masterclass, which teaches you everything around quarter turns, mandatories, transitions, how to breathe, etc., etc. And then we also have a calendar with a huge call list, okay, where you can sit on calls with Olympia level posing coaches, me included, Sammy Williams, Luke Vinnicum, and Emil Nieborg. Okay, so we have tons of calls. You can jump on all of them, as many as you want, and they correlate to stage ready and routine ready. And then we also drill rounds, practice rounds together, practice flows together, and you'll get everything you need. And then you also have a place to send in pictures to us, okay, and you'll get feedback from us, and you'll get video recorded feedback, okay? So you've got Jesse here sending in his classic shots, getting some video recorded feedback from me today. Okay, Craig here sending in his first lot of mandatory poses, getting some feedback from me, okay? And then we've got tons of guys like making wins all the time, you know. We've got Mateus, he just jumped on, took his novice overall. Rich Johnson came on, got 2nd and 4th in his first shows, but his posing was on the money. His coach was really happy with his posing, so that was cool. Yeah, we've got Mateus there, we've got Claudio fixing up some poses, Tamlin hitting up his first twisting rear double bicep in core position 4. Probably needs to lift that left elbow a little bit. Yeah, but it goes on and on and on, okay? So Posing Academy's got you back if you want to start your 7-day free trial. What else do you need? All right? We're going to teach you to pose like a pro, and you're going to be guided by Olympia level coaches. All right, guys, peace out. Hope the video helped, and I'll speak to you soon.